Hello and how are you? My name is Mahinder Mubarak, and today we are going to look at HTML tables. HTML tables allow the web developers to arrange their data into rows and columns. A table in HTML consists of a table cell inside the rows and columns. Each table cell is defined by a TD tag and a TD tag or opening. Okay, it's defined by opening a TD tag and then do what, and then you close it. That's what you call a table cell. So a TD tag stands for table data, or TD means table data. So the data that you feed in the table is fed inside a TD. Everything between a TD are the content of the table cell. So with that simple introduction, we're going to jump into the practicals and we see what is meant by what? By a table of HTML. So I'm going to create a new file here, new file, and I'm going to name it as this 17 underscore HTML tables, okay, .html. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to read our HTML structure and I'm going to name this one as HTML table. Okay, like that. Okay, so after doing that, let's go ahead and create now our table. Okay, so to create a table, we just simply write table like this. Okay, let's just write the main table tag like that, and then you close it. Okay, so a table will be separated into two. It will have the head and the what, and the footer. So I'll just simply write here T head. Okay, so T head is where we'll have the table head. So after writing the table head, and then we'll have another thing which is called the what, the T body. Okay, so T body is where we'll have the table body. You know, the table is separated into two, the headings and the body itself. So that's it. Okay, those are the two structures that you've written. You can see there. Okay, so after doing that, let's go ahead and give this column, this table what, the rows. Okay, so in this first head, I'm going to give it a what, a row, and I'm going to put here maybe TR, table row. So it means that I'm creating a row in a what, in a table. And in this row, I'm going to add there now the data. The what, the data, of course. Since now it is the heading, you notice the heading. Okay, so in this row, I'm going to add the table head data, which is called TH. So TH like this. So I'm going to have maybe the ID, and then I'm going to have maybe the TH, another TH. It's going to have maybe the name, and then maybe have here TH. I'm going to have maybe the edge, and maybe lastly we can add another TH. We're going to have maybe the country. Okay, like that. Okay, so it means that this is now the headings of our what, of our table columns. Okay, you can see how I've defined it. We begin with the table tag, and then followed by what, by the table head. Inside the table head, we put a row inside there, and then we define the heads of the columns. So after defining the what, the heading, we'll go ahead and define now the content of the body, or the table body. So these are now going to define row by row as it is matching with the ones on top. So to do that, we just simply write TR like that. So it's going to define a table row, and in a single table row, we'll have what we call TD, which is the table data that we talked about, and will be holding the data of a certain row. So our first row is going to be having TD, the first data, which is maybe 0, 1, and so it means that that will be the ID of that row, or the ID of a person in that row. We're going to have another TD, and we're going to give it maybe Mohindo Mubarak. Okay, like that. And then you can have another TD like that, and here we can have age maybe 21 whatever. Okay, maybe say 20, okay, whatever. And then we can go ahead and add the country TD, and you can say maybe Uganda. Okay, so by doing like that, it means that you have one complete row that's going to be under this table. So before we proceed, let us first see what I've created in the web browser. So I hope we are still on the same page, right? I hope you're not lost so far. Okay, we first define the table columns, the table column titles, and then we start putting there the data. So let us go ahead and see what we've come up with. So I'll come here to our browser, right click, and then say, oh sorry, just press Ctrl O, and then we move on top here and then open the table borders. Double click, boom. So you can see what we've come up with. I've come up something which is organized in this way. We're having the ID, we're having the name, we're having the age. Okay, let's try to add there some more data, but you can see they are arranged in form of what? In form of a table. So let us add there some more data. So to add the data, of course, we have to create another row. It's going to be TR, and then we put here some TD, and here we can have maybe 02, and then you can duplicate this one and shoot. Okay, this thing is disturbing me with its shortcuts. Okay, so here we can come here and put the name here, maybe Bambale Mehidin, and then maybe the age maybe is 18, and then I can duplicate and then put his country, maybe Somalia. So I'm going to duplicate the whole row here and create some other rows. Okay, so I'll come and make this one number 3 and put here maybe Masereka Rama, then okay, maybe he's 17, and maybe he's from Sudan, and you can come here and put another one 0304, can put maybe Kule Saleh, it's maybe 16, and he is from Kenya. Okay, save that. You see now how we're going into complex things. It's not complex yet, but it is super straightforward. Okay, so that's it. Now let's go ahead and see what we've come up with. Refresh. Perfect. You can see our content is organized in a table format. So that's how we create a table or HTML table. Now let us go ahead and style this table. Okay, so to style this table, we just simply, for example, we want to add the table borders. If you want to add table borders, we'll just simply write our style here on top here. Just write our style and then do like this. So you just say every table tag, table head, and table data, it should have a border of should have a border of 1 pixel and solid, and should be black. So by doing like this, if we add this in our head, come and refresh our table, we're going to have something like that. Okay, now if you don't want these spaces, you can see they're in form of boxes. Now assume that we want it to be collapsed. What we do, we add another attribute, okay, in these styles, by simply saying border collapse, and then you put collapse. So by doing like that, that will collapse the borders of a table, and we'll have something beautiful like that one. So that's how we create tables. Okay, you can go ahead and add more styles, like adding the border radius. For example, if you want to add some radius, you can simply come and say here border radius, and you can say maybe 20 pixels. So by doing like that, you'll have something like this. Remove this collapse. This is collapse, that's why I think you'll have something like that. You have something like that. So you can play around with it. and but literally that's how you create a table in HTML. So as we proceed into practical examples, we'll get to know much more about HTML tables. And when we proceed, if you want to learn more about tables of HTML, I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. So you click on that link and you'll find the notes that I prepared about HTML tables, which will be straightforward and give you a full information about HTML tables. But for the sake of video length, I'll stop from here, and I'll encourage you to not just to watch, but to watch as you do as you practice. So let's meet in the next video, where we are going to look at the HTML lists. Don't miss.